Welcome back, guys, to this week's episode of Fixing This Box. So I said I'd update you if it pass or fail its MOT. As you can see, we got a fail. It's suspension arm ball joint excessively worn on both near side front and offside front. So today we will be changing both lower control arms, because for the price it makes sense just to change the whole thing. Right, now that's out the way, I need to take it back off the ramps, jack it up, put it on jack stands, because we're going to be taking the wheels off and removing the whole front subframe. Right, now we've got it all up in the air, pull the front wheels off, and then we can get subframe out. Right, we're going to start by disconnecting the bottom ball joint here, which on the K13 is just a pinch bolt that clamps it, and then you can pull it out the bottom. So I've replaced mine, so it's two 17s on this side. I have to do it the other way around. The reason we're going to drop the subframe instead of just pulling the lower arm off is, if you look here, the style of bushing, they're just two flat ones, and with the lift kit it bottoms out on the subframe, so you cannot physically pull it down anymore to take the ball joint out of the bottom of the knuckle here. So I'm going to have to drop the subframe down just to be able to slide these out, because it's got to like pivot out like that. The front has to come out and then it slides out. If you look, there's a slot that has to then move out of. So we'll get the bottom ball joint disconnected here, and then we'll do the other side. Then we're going to do the steering rack disconnect. It's just a UJ in the footwell of the cab, and then we can take the 6 bolts out that hold the subframe in. Alright, you can see the steering shaft UJ that goes down to the steering rack through the floor here. That's actually, I don't know if you can see that, that's actually the steering rack coming up through the floor where my finger is here. So you just need a 13, and we'll crack that off. What I like to do is just take the whole UJ off, because it's got quite a lot of slide on this bit here. So just slide it all the way up, and then you know it's not going to catch when it pulls out of it. So I'll do that real quick. Down here. There we go. Right, that is now steering disconnected. Right, so we've got to remove this back one, this one that goes through the suspension arm, and then there's one up here that bolts up to the chassis. They're both 18s, and that's a 21mm. So I'll take these off on this side. I'll take them off on that side, but first things first, we're going to take the gearbox mount off the dog bone, which is also just an 18mm. There you go, so that's gearbox disconnected. That was a bit mullied because I've had to weld a socket to it in the past. Not a socket, a nut. Got it stripped last time. There we go. Oh no. Okay. I'll be right back. Hey, it's got some heat in it, so no, that just spun straight off. Nice one. Okay, right. I'm gonna just get this off, and I'll come back. So after a lot of around and fighting, we've got the new lower control arm in. I ended up not dropping the subframe because that bolt is in there. And my welder decided he didn't want to be a welder today and just stopped working completely. So we'll crack on with the other side. I'll just walk you through what I've done with this side, and then I'll go do the other side. So what I ended up doing was disconnecting the knuckle from the strut, so I could then lift it high enough to get the ball joint out the bottom. Took the caliper off to get that out of the way, and then I could get to these bolts and swing them out of the way. That one was seized into the bush, so I had to cut it off. And I put a new bolt in, and have a grade 8.8 bolt, so that should be strong enough. But as you can see, the drive shaft is almost touching the subframe here, so you can't actually go any lower with it still connected to the knuckle. You have to physically move the knuckle up out of the way to get this to go any further down as well. But yeah, we'll crack on with the other side. I might record a bit of what I'm doing over there just to show you what I did. I just wanted to figure it all out how I was going to do it before I actually put it on video. So I'm going to throw this back together, tighten all this back up, put the brake caliper back on, and then move over to the other side. Right, okay. I don't know how much you can see on this side, it's quite dark around here, but I'll start by pulling these bad boys out for the knuckle. Take this off. Spin it a bit, get the caliper off. Probably should have left those knuckle bolts in for this, but it'll be fine. We get a bungee, I'll just hang it out of the way. Hang that over in the front, well out of the way. Right. So now what we can do is I'm gonna lift the knuckle up with the lower arm, and then we should be able to get the ball out the bottom of it. Just pull the caliper off to the strut off to the side. Might need some persuasion here, so I'm going to go get a jack just to hold the knuckle up, so we're not putting too much strain on the circlip in the drive shaft, and then I can give that some wax, hopefully. Right, we'll give her a few taps and she's out. So that's the arm free. So I'll just leave this up here on the jack for now, just so it's not pulling on the CV joints. We've got just a through bolt here that clamps the front, and then a 21mm at the back. That goes all the way through to the chassis. So hopefully these just pop out. I'm going to need to ratchet and give it some leverage on that one. Right, that's both new arms on. So we've got this one nice and shiny, and that one's nice and shiny. So I'm just going to put skid plate back on, wheels back on, and I'll come back to you once that's all sorted. That's better. Right, after all that messing around, we're back on the floor, wheels are back on, skid plate's back on, and we're going to take it for its retest tomorrow, which we should pass now, hopefully 100% after going off what it was advised for before and what it failed on. So I will bring you more content in the near future very soon. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll bring more content. Right, bye.